It is an incredibly valuable idea. I found as I came upon the word and someone intoned that you should be operating at the genius level, and on the outside I was going, yeah, you're right. On the inside I'm going, that isn't really possible, because I was stuck in the dictionary definition of the word genius, which is, when you look at it, a manifestation of genius at its best. It starts with extraordinary scientist, administrator, musician, sportsman, etc. And right there, extraordinary means it separates them out from the yous and me's. When I got into the etymology of the word and I looked at it, it was a totally different picture. In fact, it was a polar opposite. It says innate, inborn, inherent characteristic. I said, well, that's not extraordinary, that's ordinary, that's inclusive. So we have two definitions of the word genius. We have the dictionary definition that you would first see, which is extraordinary, and the etymology of the word, which is inclusive. So then which is it? And the truth is, it's both. Just like an athlete. An athlete is someone that can run around the track, can shoot a basketball. Doesn't mean the basketball goes in. You have to be Michael Jordan to be an athlete and shoot a basketball, or you sink a putt. How many of you have played golf? Some, okay, if you have. Well, everybody's played golf has sunk at least one putt. And it may be like me, only from 12 inches. Otherwise, they rim it and they don't go in. But Tiger Woods can sink one from 100 feet when there's $1 million on the line. So he's a genius in the dictionary definition, but I'm still an athlete in any other definition of the word because I practice and exercise. So genius is very similar to that. We are all geniuses when you really get into the word, and that's the revelation that I want to bring out here at Pharmacyclics. When you take a look at what that word really means and get the descriptive definition, and we're going to go through them today, the 24 characteristics, then I believe that's a gift, but it's actually a gift. I'm not giving you the gift. Whoever is behind creating you gave you that gift, and it says so in the dictionary. It says inborn, innate characteristic, so it's in you from the beginning. So now we're just discovering that, okay? The value of an idea, achieving innovation, and just a moment and a word on innovation. Innovation is a compound word. It's in and novate. It's used in the Latin community, and it was a Latin word, but those in Spanish know the word novare, but it simply means to introduce change. So it's actually not necessary to have 3 PhDs, 2 from Stanford, 1 from MIT, to be an innovator. When you examine that way, you will see that you innovate every day of your life. And happiness. Happiness is a key word. There's 3 definitions of happiness I like. One is overcoming not unknown barriers. Another definition of happiness is good things happening to one. And the third definition of happiness I like is the contemplation of good things coming up. That's the one I want you to focus on today. So this word genius is what we will define it as today, and you take hold of that and have just one insight, that one characteristic that you own that you could improve. That will be the contemplation of good things coming up because you've lifted your own genius characteristics. This is Thomas Alva Edison. Thomas Edison was the man who invented General Electric, so we really owe a lot to him on that. Of course, you have to have X amount of intelligence, and I think we're all endowed with that also, but hard work makes the difference. An idea to live by, definition of genius, extraordinary intellectual and creative power, a person of extraordinary intellect and talent. So that's a manifestation of genius, right? That is, you know, if someone said, what's an athlete? Oh, it's some gold medal winner at the Sushi Olympics. That's true. That's a definition of athlete. But it's the best athlete. But we find there's more. Derivation, Middle English, guardian spirit. So it's kind of like, it's like your protector. It's there to help you, help yourself, do what you really want to do, which is make a difference, have an impact. I was here. This is what I was able to contribute. The Latin, procreative divinity. So it's kind of like, it's a very positive aspect of a godlike capability. Wow, that's kind of like, wow, I've got that. That's pretty cool. Innate quality, inborn character, spirit. All people are born with the seed of genius within them. This I really like and I agree with. Through observation, study and practice, attention and intention, genius manifests itself. 24 qualities that geniuses have in common. Taken from an article first published in the magazine that you all subscribe to, National Enquirer, right? Everybody reads that every week? Huh? It's the magazine that none of us have ever read, but all of us know what's in it. Now, I don't know how that works out, but somehow it does. Written by a clinical psychologist, Dr. Alfred Barrios. So the information is, as we have his permission to use this. His bottom line is anyone can develop these because they're inherent inside of you. It makes no difference how old, education, what you've accomplished to date. Adopting these characteristics will enable you to operate on a genius level. And I would just say a little differently. I would say just recognizing that they're there is step number one, and then interacting with them is step number two, and then watching them grow, which is what will happen, is step number three. So number one, drive. What I really like about these is each one of these now will give us a little line as to how we can activate this characteristic. A strong desire to work hard and long. They're willing to give all they've got to a project. Develop your drive by focusing on your future success and keep going. So definition of work: physical or mental effort or activity directed toward the production or accomplishment of something. The early word, etymology of work, was completion of intention. Then later on, added to completion of intention was energy spent completing your intention. But what do we say now sometimes? Don't work too hard. Hey, you're working too hard. It means like, don't really focus in on completing your intention. Or don't, what does the word hard mean? Durable and persistent. Hard work is essential to any success you will ever see. It's not a bad word. It just means you have duration and persistence in completion of intention. It's actually a beautiful concept. Now, words have many meanings, so it can have other meanings, and I don't mind if someone says, hey, don't work too hard. They mean, don't kill yourself working. So that's okay too. So whenever you go, God, I just wish I had more drive. I wish I had the drive of someone that you really admire. If you really look at it and you really listen to them, they typically are saying, this is what's going to happen when I get this done. This is why I'm doing this. So they have a reason why they're doing something. Courage. It takes courage to do things others consider impossible. Stop worrying what people will think if you are different. As long as you're comfortable with what you're doing, that a lot of people lead their life on what I call the basis of authority. What do the authorities say? What should I do? Well, what do people think I should do? Then I go off and do what they think I should do. Not that that's totally wrong, but what do you think you should do? What's right for you? What do you find really interesting? Where do you feel you could engage yourself and make a difference for the better? That is significant. So this little cat. Now, come on. I don't even know if I'd walk in front of all those German Shepherds. But I'm happy to say that we found out the cat made it. And I guess then I also found out that half hour ago the dogs were all fed, so they weren't that hungry. But look at this little courageous guy. He's looking at you, not even looking at them. That's real courage. Comes from his heart. The guy has some real guts. It rises in the heart and soul and requires belief, ability to believe. Dogs, they're not that bad. I can walk in front of them. Devotion to goals. Geniuses know what they want and go after it. So have a goal in mind. What is it you'd like to produce? What effect would you like to create? Because effects are being created on you. You drive down the street, all the advertising, neon signs, go to this movie, read this book, do this, do that. And we're the effect of all the promotion in society. So what effect do you want to create? What good do you want to do to generate joy in your life? Get control of your life and schedule. Yeah, so control just means the ability to start something, change something, and stop something. It's your life. You should have control. It's your freedom, right? To say, this is what I want to start. I can change this. I want to gain 10 pounds. Not too many people say that. I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, what are you going to do? Exercise, drink a little more water. You put a schedule out and you get it going. Devote yourself to an idea. Go make it happen. Struggle on it. Overcome your fears. Smile. Don't forget, this is your dream. Knowledge. Knowledge is key, because knowledge is the data accumulated in a way that you feel good about it and comfortable with it and certain about it, and you're going to give it a try. Because it's with knowledge that we make things happen. Trees are they have the DNA to grow. You have the ability to move 10 feet to the right, move 10 to the left. You see a nice beach. Say, I'm leaving the mountains. I'm going down to the beach today. But you have to know how to get there. Knowledge is key. And when you have certainty with your knowledge, then you can act with decisiveness. Never go to sleep at night without having learned at least one new thing. It sounds funny, but you can see in my office my dictionaries kind of tag in, but I'll constantly be looking and reading something and get the word out and kind of dig into it and see it. And now just with a computer, you underline it and up comes the definition. It's a whole new world for us today. And there's no excuse for not looking up your words and seeing what meanings they have. Because without the meaning, you're a little bit spinny. If you want to really go to sleep, you don't need ambient. Just get a subject you're interested in and read a book that is way too stilted for you, and you'll fall asleep real quick. Okay, and when you grasp your knowledge, ask people who know. Go to the source of the information. We live in an authoritarian society. Why do you like that idea? Well, 10 people told me it was good. Okay, 10 people told me it was good. That doesn't necessarily mean it's true. Is it really true for you? And who's the source of the idea? What do they think about it? Honesty. Geniuses are frank, forthright, and honest. They take responsibility for things that go wrong. Be willing to admit, I goofed, and learn from your mistakes. So there's humility in honesty. But there's also in honesty, there's empowerment. Because you know yourself, I didn't really know about that. I made a mistake on that. Now, what do I now need to do to correct that mistake? If you slide right over and go, I just don't want anybody to see that, and I'm not going to fess up on that one, they'll never know that it's me, you're basically obfuscating. You're taking the Venetian blinds and you're turning the lights off and you're putting darkness in. So when you put darkness in front of yourself, that's going to affect the very next thing that you're looking at. You're not going to quite see that so well. So it's really important to be able to live with the truth, and as you're able to do that, you will see more of the truth. And that's a good thing, because when you see the way things are from that platform, you can see, how do I want to change them? If you don't know how they are, it's very difficult to change them. Optimism. Geniuses never doubt they will succeed. Deliberately focus your mind on something good coming up. So one thing I will say here, the people here have never wavered that the work we're doing is work that's worthwhile. That we all know with certainty. Is it going to be better than anything that's ever occurred? You know, that we don't know. We've got to work each day to strive to make it that. There's certain things that you don't know. Is the stock going to 1,000 someday? I don't know. But is this work worth doing? That I do know. Yes, it is. And can we collectively put our attention on this work and improve on it day by day, week by week? Yes, we can. Are we making a difference? The facts are in. Yes, we are. Can we improve on that? Yes, we can. I love this line from Alice, where in her movie she says, I'm Alice, it's my dream, and it's going to turn out my way. How many of you saw the movie Alice in Wonderland? Yeah, that was my first movie when I was 8 or 9, and I unfortunately walked out because I kind of fell in love with Alice. God, she's really cute. Look, I have blue eyes and blonde hair. Then she goes down that cornucopia, and she goes from this big Alice to this little nothing. I go, hey, that's my girlfriend. Look what they're doing to her. I'm not going to sit here and watch this. And I got up with my 10 cents of popcorn and 5-cent Coke and walked out and went to play football. So 60 years later, I'm walking down Santana Row, and at the end they have a big movie theater, Alice in Wonderland, 3D, and I go, I want to go back in and see what everybody loved and I couldn't see when I was 8 or 9 years old. And I got up there and I'm sitting in the top row, and I got my $2.50 Coke and $5 popcorn bag. And times have changed a little bit over that 50 years. And I'm sitting up and I'm watching it. And it gets to this great line, and I see right where I left, and I grab my seat and I hold on. Now she goes from small to big, and things work out. And this gal, Alice, is really somebody. She's got personality. She's got confidence in herself. She's got purpose in her mind. And she met her boyfriend and the court jester. Alice, let's go. You've done everything, and you and I are in love, and let's get the hell out of here because, you know, it could get dangerous. And she had to slay the dragon that her sister was bringing into the scene. And Alice went, nope, I'm Alice. It's my dream. It's going to turn out my way. And she, of course, slayed the dragon. I thought, God, if I would have just sat there and watched that whole message when I was 8, I could have made something out of my life. I needed that little inspiration, you know, but I got it now. Optimism is essential to achievement, and it is also the foundation of courage and true progress. So the word optimism, the corner of that word is op. Look at this, Latin, op, to work, produce in abundance. Who's ever told you that optimism is anything other than, oh, you know, Jimmy, he's always optimistic, or Jane, she's always thinking things are going to work out. They don't tell you that it's, the etymology of that word is to work and produce in abundance. So someone who can work and produce in abundance has a right to be optimistic because they know they can get the job done. The greatest good, optimistic, the best. So to work and produce to the greatest good, really, when you're doing that, you have life at your back. Call it Muhammad, Buddha, God, whoever, whatever these forces are just what's really within you. When you're doing good, you have energy and you have a right to be optimistic. Definition of focus, to concentrate, a central point of attention, attraction, or activity. Clearly and sharply defined condition of an image. So you focus your attention on what good thing's coming up and you put your energy behind it. Ability to judge. Try to understand the facts of a situation before you judge. This is one of the biggest areas that I work on to improve because I'm quick to make up my mind on something. And I've realized here, let's really examine the facts. Am I dealing and operating based on opinion, which may or may not be true, Or am I dealing on fact? What's a fact? Something that when you inspect, you can find that it's really there and it's true. It's like, it's one thing to say, I think Haagen-Dazs is good ice cream because all my friends tell me it is. That's my opinion now. I've eaten it now. And I say, I know it's good. At least for me, it's really good because I've tried it. So this is really important. This is probably one of the, next to the word genius, this whole area of prejudice, man, it throws life into a turmoil. You know, the Northern Irish and the Southern Irish don't get along. The Egyptians and the Israelis, what? Why does that? That doesn't have to be the case. And a lot of that is buried on prejudgment. So if you yourself can transform yourself out of prejudgment, then you're setting a good example for others, and others will follow that good example. So it's really a worthwhile trait. Evaluate things with an open mind, unprejudiced basis, and be willing to change your mind. Enthusiasm. Geniuses are so excited about what they are doing, it encourages others to cooperate with them. Really believe that things will turn out well. Don't hold back. So if you have your goal, if you are optimistic, you know you can work and produce in abundance. If you're willing to sacrifice and work hard, why wouldn't you be enthusiastic? Because you really think, I can get this done. I think we can make it go right. So nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. So let's look a little into that word. Latin, enthusiasmus. Greek, enthusiasmos, to be inspired by a God. In means in, en means in, and theos is God. So it keeps relating back here. These are the terms in the dictionary. So I'm not imposing religion or belief in God on you. You can or can't at your will. But interesting, these words, as they come up, the word genius is spirit. The word enthusiasm is some godlike thing. And some people say we're made and manifested in God's will, shape, and form. So you look at that and you go, is that true for me? Do I have these kind of abilities in me? That's a whole new chapter of life, if that's the case. So just see if it's true for you. Willingness to take chances. Overcome your fear of failure. You won't be afraid to take chances once you realize you can learn from your mistakes. So a chance is like, I'd really like to turn this into a very successful company. Okay, then we have to do something that counts for people. So what are we going to do that counts for people? Well, let's make something they need. What do they need? Well, in cancer, honestly, it's kind of an ugly treatment, cancer, 5, 6 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. You get hurt at the same time I'm telling you I'm going to help you, and you can suffer from cancer therapy. What if we turned that around? What if we took the hurt out and just put the help in? Oh, no one's ever done that. Okay, right away. They're saying, you're going to fail too. You're going straight down a 100-foot drop in a raft here, and no one on the raft can swim. That's really dangerous. So, but you have to say, is it worth doing? So what if we fail? Is it worth doing? Is it the right thing to try? So you step in and you give it a go. And you find other people and say, hey, I'm going to hang in here. This company was on the verge of extinction, and 40 people said, I'm going to stick with it. I know our history. For whatever reason, I'm sticking with it. There's got to be something good here. And they did. And had they not, none of us would be here today. And some of those people are in the room today. You got to try something new. Hadn't been done before. It's easy to say, never been done. You won't make it happen. A lot of people, and they're oftentimes right. So it's an easy thing to say. But hey, when it does work out, it's pretty cool. Edison, I will not say I failed 1,000 times. I'll say I discovered there are 1,000 ways that can cause failure. So we don't do it that way. Dynamic energy. Don't sit on your butt waiting for something good to happen. Be determined to make it happen. And Jordan, some people want it to happen, pretty much everybody. Some people wish it would happen, pretty much everybody. And others make it happen. What's the difference? Just the courage, the heart, the dynamic drive, the enthusiasm. These are the characters of genius that you are innate inside of you that you can use and bring them out. They're tools that you can use. If you were a contractor and you had a whole tool set and you were building houses by hand, then I later told you you had all this electronic power tools. God, why didn't you tell me before I started on the house? These tools are sitting here. They're in everyone. They're innate. Enterprise. Geniuses are opportunity seekers. So you look at where, as Wayne Gretzky said, go to where that puck's going. I mean, where it's at, everybody's going where it's at. But go to where that thing is going to go, and you may be the only person there. Go for the opportunity. Never be afraid to try the unknown. That's life's excitement. The unknown, terra incognita, the world unknown. That's where the excitement is. What's that going to be like? Well, look and see. Persuasion. Geniuses know how to motivate people to help them get ahead. You'll find it easy to be persuasive if you believe in what you're doing. That word persuasive is persuare, and per means through, suare means the use of reason and judgment to bring someone from disbelief to belief based on what reason and judgment you've provided them. To prevail on a person to do something. I mean, literally, when Jules Verne wrote the book Earth to Moon, that had to be only science fiction, never really going to happen, right? And then Kennedy says, let's go, and the Soviets were going, and there was some competition, and we landed on the moon. It's unbelievable. We now use that picture in our own Imbruvica promotion. There's the footprint on the moon that is symbolic of, hey, some new things can happen. There may be something new that just arrived here, like friendly or harmonious therapy for your cancer treatment. Outgoingness. I found that geniuses are able to make friends easily and be easy on their friends. This is really important. Be a booster, not someone who puts others down. That attitude will win you many valuable friends. If you ever need a hand, I'm here. That's the way we should operate. And our little cats, me and you as friends, you smile, I smile, you hurt, I hurt, you cry, I cry, you jump off bridge, I'm going to miss your emails. Okay, I'm not saying to sacrifice all your life for someone, but I mean, give it a go, right? Ability to communicate. Geniuses are able to effectively get their ideas across to others. And that's what communication is, definition one. Impart knowledge of or make known to. So there's an important point. Knowledge is something that you know and you're certain about. Your opinions are very valuable. But always say, in my opinion, we should do this. Or, I know this is the way to do it. I've read the manual and read the book and I've done it 10 times and that's the way it works. You're doing a lab experiment. That's a different thing than to say, I think you might want to try this. Let people know if you're dealing with certainty or it's your idea. Both are valuable, but one helps the other person say, okay, you're thinking this works. It may not, so I'll be careful when I do it. Take every opportunity to explain your ideas to others. Why do you say to do this? A little couple minutes in explanation can save hours of upset later on. Express your thoughts, feelings, information easily or effectively. So obviously Martin Luther King, what an amazing individual, having the courage that he did and expressing the dream he did, and look how many people it resonated with. You know, in our hearts, we all actually really do want to get along. Martin Luther King really built that bridge, and of course Reagan tear this wall down, and yeah, it happened. Be patient. Be patient with others most of the time, but always be impatient with yourself. Expect far more of yourself than you do of others. So you set a good example, you have a right to go to another individual and say, is there a little more you can do? But if you're never here and you never show up and then you're bossing people around, no one's going to really like that. And I like the Dalai Lama line, be kind whenever possible. I'm thinking, okay, I could do that. It's always possible. Oh, wait a minute here. That he closed the door on any escape valve there, didn't he? It's always possible to be kind. But you know what? He's right. It's always possible. Perception. Geniuses have their mental radar working full time. Think more of others' needs and wants than you do of your own. That's the Sam Walton, a willingness to serve others. So what does the other person need? You fulfill the other person, that puts fruit on your tree. You don't have to put your attention on money. Put your attention on service to others. The money will come because people exchange for what they get back, a service or product or good from you. Just put your attention on, get that service in, get it through. Do not impose on others what you yourself don't want. Of course, that's true and it's worth saying. Try to treat others the way you want to be treated. Try. Perfection. Geniuses cannot tolerate mediocrity, particularly in themselves. Definition of perfection: a personal standard, an attitude, or a philosophy that demands perfection and rejects anything else. So here's a great guy. I mean, this guy was maybe not the easiest guy to be with at all times, but boy, did he have high ideals. Boy, did he have perfection. Get this right. Get it done. Do it correctly. Sense of humor. Be willing to laugh at your own expense. Don't take offense when the joke is on you. Please God, if you can't make me thin, make my friends fat. One way or another, level the playing field here. Versatility. This is really an awesome one. The more things you learn to accomplish, the more confidence you will develop. Don't shy away from new endeavors. The definition of confidence again: belief in oneself, one's powers or abilities, self-confidence, self-reliance, full trust, belief in the power, trustworthiness, or reliability of a person or thing. It's also true for you. How do you build your confidence? Do what you say you're going to do. Well, how do you do that? Well, say you're going to do things that you really know you can do. Don't set expectations out there for others that you go, I don't even know if I can do this. You can always say, I'm going to try to do that. But for each day, get a few things done. You say, this is what's going to happen. At 7:15, I'm getting up. At 7:15, get up. Okay, okay, I did it. That's the way to rebuild that confidence. You don't have to regret yesterday. We've all made mistakes. But in a new unit of time, you can say, you know what? These are some things that I can do and I will do it. And mark them down and get to a point where you do 10 out of 10. You go, God, I can really do this. Then you can move the grading up a little bit and take on some even bigger projects and make those go right. Because the truth is, we are very, very capable, beyond what anyone will share with us and even beyond our wildest dreams. So build that confidence. It's a huge factor. It wasn't Sam Walton. It is for me, and it is for you, and it is for our company. Adaptability. Being flexible enables you to adapt to changing circumstances readily. Resist doing things the same old way. Be willing to consider new options. Look at the world of phones back when some of you were just little babies. They had little holes in a dial, and you ring it up, you'd listen, there'd be a ring on the other end. You go, okay, hello? And if it's way back in the very old days of your grandparents, it'd be Jane would answer, yes, Mr. Dokes, what do you want? Jane, I want to be connected to Alice around the block. Okay. And Jane, don't be listening in now while I'm talking to Alice. Okay, I won't. And they pass the line, and that's kind of what happened. Then it got to dial phones, and you had privacy. And then there was a little thing, who'd you dial? And then there was a little note that came in on who's dialing you. And, oh, that's Jimmy. That's the tax collector. I'm not answering that phone. And it was like, oh, that's really a breakthrough. Then there became the cell phone. And I remember there was like a 6-volt battery. The battery was bigger than the phone. And one of my friends said, I said, you got to be crazy with that thing. It doesn't fit in your pocket, doesn't fit in your pants. You got to put this thing in a bag, and it's scratchy and noisy, and that's never going to work. Okay, so that was my unintelligent response to a technological breakthrough. But now, this little thing's turned into a computer. I mean, a phone is just one little thing that it does. Now, who's calling, when they call, what was said, you can record it, you can videotape it, and you can go out and find, what's their background? I got a call from Jim Smith. Who is he? Oh, Jim Smith, Google him. Oh my God, he's really a great guy. And all these things that a phone can now do because somebody had the insight and the intelligence and the genius characteristics to say, let's take it in that direction. So phones have now become indispensable. You have a relationship with your phone. You like the feel of the glass, the way it looks, the round. It's like, that's part of you now. What would you do without it? I don't wear a watch anymore because my phone's my watches. They're so great. It's my alarm clock. It's everything. I love my phone. And it treats me well. And Siri can talk to me. Hi. And, you know, it's unbelievable. And it's only going to get better. So phones have gone from like ugh to absolutely extraordinary. Now let's just turn the dial back to cancer medication. You've got cancer. Oh, I can treat you. Yeah? How's that going to work out? Well, for a few months, you know, we can extend your life. Yeah? How's the quality? Well, you ever seen yourself looking bald? Not really. Well, get used to it. And you might have a little nausea, a little fatigue, and other things might happen. And yeah, doc, but in 6 months will I all be better? Well, actually, there's a thing called myelosuppression. In 6 months, your immune system is going to be shot. It's like, oh, that's cancer medication 10 years ago. And now it is getting a little better. With Imbruvica, we're actually with empirical vetted data, improving the individual's wellness. Those of you that were there Friday, Doug Smith, he didn't even mention his medication. It's like just 15 seconds a day. The other 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 45 seconds is all what he wants to do. What a transition, and it's a little bit like the cell phone. An inquisitive, curious mind will help you seek out new information. Don't be afraid to admit you don't know it all. Ask questions about things you don't understand. Definition of curiosity, a desire to know or learn. The derivation, curious, inquisitive, curiosity, to care. Who really knew here before we got into the etymology that the etymology of curious was to care? The word curious is a great word. It doesn't just mean you're poking your nose into someone else's business or you're asking questions you shouldn't be asking. It means you care. The essence of curiosity is to care. So that's a beautiful word. So always acknowledge someone in your space that's curious. Your kids, your friends, your family, those you work with, thank them for being so curious because they're manifesting that they care about what they're doing and about what you're doing. Who hasn't told their kid or been told as a kid, oh, you're asking too many questions, go see your mother, you know? That's what my dad said. He's listening to the radio, reading the newspaper. Go ask your mom all those questions. Don't ask me, because he wanted to get the sports news, and I'd come in and ask him all my questions. So wear these binoculars. Be curious. Encourage your kids to be curious. Encourage your teammates to be curious. Curiosity opens the door to increased knowledge. Curiosity opens the door to imagination. You know, imagination opens the door to innovation. We looked at innovation, in and novate, interchange. It's just all innovation is, interchange. Change what? I don't know, change the color of your hair if you want to. You know, change what? Change your weight, change your shoes, change your car, change your name if you want to. Get married, take the other guy's name. You know, change, right? It changes life. There's no life without change. So change is here. Just go along with it, and that's innovation. And if it's good, it's a great innovation. And if it's lousy, it'll get rejected and we will not get further supported. But innovate in the direction of betterment. That's what I say. To make a difference for the better requires innovation, requires imagination, requires curiosity. The word imagination is this very stimulating word, and it has this M-A-G-I, imagination, and it's also very similar to magic, M-A-G-I. Magic is something out of nothing. Doesn't exist, now it exists. There's the hat, nothing in it. There's a rabbit in the hat, something from nothing. I still don't know how they do that, but somehow they do, right? Imagination also goes back to 10,000 years in the Persian language. There was a word magus, and then it can be brought back into Latin, magus and magi, and it means powerful one. 10,000 years ago, magus meant powerful one. So an imagination is allowing you to express your power. An unbelievable imagination is your expression of your power. And then you use your magic and your other abilities to take that idea, which is just an idea. It's a very tiny little particle, but it's almost nothing, into Imbruvica, something that makes a difference for the better, into a cell phone. Okay, individualism. Do things the way you think they should be done without fearing somebody's disapproval. So if you've done your work, you've done your study, you've really examined, you're not operating on prejudice, and you think that the party's that way, you're the goldfish, then go for it. Just be sure you're right. Actually, there'll be times that you're going to be wrong, and you have to be willing to be wrong in order to be right, because if that is where the plans that will make the successful company operate and the lights really turned on, he'll come back and get these fish, and they'll come back and say, really, thanks, that's awesome that you really helped make this go right. Idealism, keep your feet on the ground. So you've got to stay real in life, but have your head in the clouds. You've got to stay surreal also. You've got to be thinking of that future. That's not what the ground is made of. The unknown, that's not the ground. The ground is the known. The unknown is out there, and it will become the ground. The space that we don't know, the moon, will get there eventually. But not if you don't postulate that or think big about that. Strive to achieve great things, not just for yourself, but for the betterment of mankind. That's the secret sauce right there. If you just focus your attention, what's good for me, what hammers home my greatness in my bank account or my looks or whatever, and that's all you do, I guess there's people that do that and it can work out some way. But if you start expanding, what would work for my family? What would work for my company? What would work for life around me, mankind? What would work for all of life? What works for us what works for the planet here? This is where we live. This planet's in motion. This is our home. We're looking at like, it's been here forever, it's going to be here. Who really cares what I do? Well, you know what? It does make a huge difference. If you pollute the planet, it's not going to work so well. So think, the bigger the picture that you think, you're only going to work 8, 10, 12 hours a day, whatever you do. You can mow lawns 8, 10, 12 hours, and that's not a bad thing. But you can make lawnmowers and motorize them so everybody can mow lawns. That would be a little bigger thing. The bigger you think and you pour your heart into it, the more excited you're going to be by it. So think in those terms. Think big. How do we make a big difference? Imagination. Geniuses know how to think in new combinations. See things from a different perspective. Well, how do I do that? Well, I could just, I'm going to lose the camera here, but I could just come over here and look at it this way. See, that's just a different perspective. It's just, what point of view do you have? Know your point of view and go, oh, what point of view do you have? Let's discuss it. Let me look at it from your point of view, Some people have gotten in a position where they work so hard, it was being too much. But imagination, back to that word of powerful one, bringing something from nothing. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. So make your own movies at night, Imagine, what might I be able to do when I make that footprint that I was truly here? Many of you have got onto the course, am I right? Taking the Genius course. It's a two-way communication, back and forth, that allows you to look at that word, spend a little time with it, tell your twin what wins you had on that. Oh, that's my favorite one. I'm really good at it. Or that one, I don't know. I'm not so sure about it. And maybe you'll find that they're really good at it. And they can explain to you, well, here's how I enjoy a sense of humor and what makes me laugh and how I make other people laugh. And in that way, we grow with one another. And let's all stay in communication, help one another. We're doing some really good things. The great news is our molecule's on the market. It is going quite well. We'll show numbers here at the end of April. You'll all be pleasantly surprised how well we've done. But every piece of paper you lift up, every phone call you take, every question you answer, every question you ask leads to our continued success. Without each of you, this doesn't happen. With all of you pulling together, working together, there's no stopping us. We're 500 people. Well, someday we'll be 5,000 and 50,000. We're just going to grow and grow and grow. We just have to do one thing, make a difference for the better and pour our hearts into it. We have a short-term advantage, and that we found out that we're geniuses here. Others don't yet know that they are too. But I'm happy for them to catch up, by the way. But we'll always have that lead. So let's make the most of it, okay? Thanks.